Okay. Hello, Lulu. Hello, Shelly. Hello, everyone. Gonna give you guys, I'm gonna actually start now. Why wait? The early bird gets the worm. Okay. So here are the rules. Sorry, I say this all the time, but ask a question that is related to the video. If it is not related to the video, I may skip it. At the end of the question, put a question mark because I might not be able to see it because often they just go zooming across my screen. No stories, no descriptions of personal problems with a question asking my advice for them. That is a psychotherapy issue or a consultation issue that can never be answered easily or completely. If you are interested in psychotherapy or any of my full-length educational recordings, just go to selfloverecovery.com. What other rule do I have? No bullying, no swearing, no criticizing or making fun of people. And always just be your true, authentic, curious self. All righty. So Queen Satoshi. Okay, again, I prefer questions about covert narcissists, which is why I do my Q&As. But to Queen Satoshi's question, can someone with Asperger's or autism be a narcissist? It's important to explain, as most psychotherapists who are licensed and experienced and educated know, that there are many disorders that share similar traits or diagnostic symptoms. So narcissism is present in sometimes bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. If you are severely depressed, depression, and addiction. So it is the narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder that is the predominant problem. So yes, people with Asperger's can be narcissistic, but it's not the same as narcissistic personality disorder. Oh, hello from Tunisia. I am talking to you about, I'm talking to you from Canada, British Columbia. Any questions about the terms and details about psychotherapy with me, please write us at help@selfloverecovery.com. I prefer not to address those questions. What tour and take on consciousness? And I do not understand that questions, Carla. Tim, how do you recommend addressing covert narcissism and co-parenting? Oh my gosh. Tim, that would require many psychotherapy sessions with me. But I do recommend my full-length 50 Shades of Pathological Narcissism series. In that series, I virtually uploaded everything I know about pathological narcissism, what they do, and how to work with them or around them. I'm sorry I can't answer that question because it's just way too general. But I should say it's virtually impossible to effectively co-parent with a covert narcissist unless you have some outside pressure placed upon that covert narcissist to behave. Can you be a narcissist and codependent? Stacy, if I had $1 for that question, I'd be a rich man. And it is so commonly asked by codependents or people who I call self-love deficient. And it's important for me to explain why. First, if you are a pathological narcissist, you are not going to be worried that you are one. You don't think you have a problem. You think everyone else has a problem. So you're not going to ask me, can a codependent be a narcissist. Second is you're not going to follow me because most of my material naturally triggers narcissists. They tend to not like me. A codependent often believes they're a narcissist because of gaslighting. So if you and covert narcissists are the primary disorder that a person has that is, okay, let me restate it. I'm not saying that correctly. If gaslighting is perpetrated by one of two disorders, antisocial personality disorder or sociopathy, or if someone has covert narcissism, which is a form of narcissistic personality disorder, it is the inclusion of sociopathic tendencies that make it possible for such a narcissist to manipulate the codependent. And if you are gaslit, you are obviously subjected to the narcissist's projections. A projection is not being able to see what's bad in you because you have a personality disorder, and then placing them or seeing them or recognizing them on other people. And many people that know narcissists have a lot of experience in seeing that narcissists almost reflexively and automatically dislike other narcissists, or how they blame their codependent lovers, friends, family members for being narcissistic, selfish, harmful, just like they are. So it is impossible to be a codependent and narcissist, and that is explained in detail in my Human Magnet Syndrome book. Okay. Do you have any suggestions on how to stop ruminating after cutting off a covert narcissist that you are tempted to go back? So, Carl St. Lucie, you need to catch up on my material because there's so much that I've created that's in my book, in my seminars, or on YouTube that explains the addiction that codependents have, and the addiction is to a relationship. I explain why codependents feel like it is impossible to leave or break up with a narcissist. And when they break up or the relationship is terminated, they experience what I call bone-aching pathological loneliness. And that pain is probably what you're feeling and probably responsible for your ruminations. So my best recommendation is for you to get into psychotherapy with someone who understands codependency, or what I call self-love deficit disorder, like I do, so they can work on the underlying causes of the problem so that you can be released from it. Okay, remember, end it with a question mark. Sybil says, how does an adult daughter of an alcoholic, malignant narcissist and a mother of a covert narcissist recover from 47 years of psychological damage? Sybil, one of the most wonderful elements of my job is I get to participate in psychotherapy with SLDs, people who are codependent, who are in their 70s, some in their late 70s. And most of them, we make wonderful progress. So the reason I say that is if you are willing, emotionally strong enough and dedicated enough to go through the type of treatment necessary to get to the bottom or the cause of SLDD or codependency, which is attachment trauma, which is more often unconscious and disassociated, core shame, pathological loneliness, the addiction, and of course, everything that manifests in codependency, then you can get over it. But it takes a lot of work. This is why I created my 11-stage my 11-stage self-love recovery program. And until I write my book, the best I can do is offer that information in video form on my website at selfloverecovery.com. By the way, all of my videos, and well, actually, for that matter, all the audio and video educational resources are now at 30% off. We're having a summer sale. Okay, Drew M. Brew. I unmasked my covert narcissist. You should not have done that. In a counseling session. After she told the whole family that I bullied her in the session, she turned my whole family against me. How do I heal from this? Well, it's funny because in my life, I could never have dreamed that I would create a YouTube video that would be viewed 3.5 million times. And the reason I bring this up is I don't know, I can guess that you didn't see that video. Don't take the mask off covert narcissists and just run. Although it's too late, but I don't know many examples of people that have had success at protecting themselves by taking off the mask and confronting a covert narcissist. So now that you have done that, you're going to need to get into therapy with someone who understands my methods. And if someone does not understand my methods, or you cannot afford the therapy, then I strongly advise you to look at my YouTube videos where some of this information is available for free. But I do have valuable educational resources at selfloverecovery.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Looking for question marks. Did I miss anything? Yeah, thank you you guys are awesome. I always appreciate the affirmation that I get from you guys. Can a covert narcissist pretend not to be narcissistic? 9 of 8. Catch up on the topic by watching some of my videos on covert narcissism. I also talk about it in my human magnet syndrome, or of course, you can go to YouTube. A covert narcissist is a person with narcissistic personality disorder who is completely capable and skilled at pretending to be likable, lovable, kind, altruistic. They have jobs as counselors, teachers, caregivers, nurses, and ministers, rabbis, preachers. And they pretend to be this completely lovable, sometimes adorable person. And it's completely pretend so that they can profit by being in such an occupation. So then it is completely possible for a covert narcissist to pretend to be a codependent, to pretend to be a psychotherapist helping codependents. And how do you detect it? I believe that once you resolve, heal, or treat your self-love deficit disorder, which is what I call codependency, according to my treatment program, you are no longer attracted to or vulnerable to the control of a narcissist. I explained this in my Human Magnet Syndrome book. And what happens is, what was once this compelling attraction to these exciting, bold, charismatic, beautiful, seductive narcissists becomes an opposite but equally compelling unattraction. I can do much better with my words, but repulsion of the narcissist. So the Human Magnet Syndrome works for the SLD or codependent by wanting to get closer or being attracted to the narcissist. And if you are neither a codependent or narcissist and you are what I consider healthy, or you through therapy have transitioned from your SLDD or codependency into self-love abundance, you have this natural reflexive repulsion feeling. I call this a narcometer, and that is what I call the hidden, invisible measuring device that alerts me when a narcissist is nearby. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, remember, use a question mark I work in low-level management, and these narcissistic people are everywhere. Is it fair? Is it fair I step down for my own health? Well, P-Dog, I have actually a video on YouTube that's called Narcissists Are Everywhere, and I use the 6th Sense video clip for that. They're everywhere. So if you retreat from your beloved occupation or something that you need or something that brings you joy and or even just enough income to survive, and you avoid that because the narcissists are everywhere, you're effectively escaping and becoming part of this never-ending trap. That what you need to do is learn how to manage yourself around narcissists and stay free from the harm that they cause whenever it's possible. Sometimes we can't avoid them, but if you're an SLD, you are a likely victim that they choose to see. So I've created many techniques that I detail in my my educational series, The 50 Shades of Pathological Narcissism, but I created many techniques that help a person stay free from the narcissist and heal or protect themselves from them. So the very best you can do is be in the world with them and keep yourself from falling into their what I call their wrestling ring. And then if you are brought into some kind of conflict, is to know how to get out of it without fighting. Okay. You guys are also welcome. Do covert narcissists ever change in as they get older? I do have a YouTube video on this. They absolutely do. And I hate to put in 20 minutes worth of explanations into just a few sentences, but the covert narcissist having sociopathic traits understands what they have to do or not do in order to get what they most need. So if they required power and strength and authority that they had when they were younger, and if that should slip as they get older, they have to retool their weapons or their manipulative strategies to maintain the same control. And so they will change in many different ways that goes beyond the scope of this. Hippie chick, no, narcissism is not contagious. It is caused by severe early childhood trauma. Can a covert narcissist be safe and cunning? I don't know what that, well, first of all, covert narcissists are cunning and they cannot be saved because there's no cure that I know of that that can resolve covert narcissism. Any tips on setting boundaries with a narc or standing your ground? Stacy, that is really, really complicated. And, I'll give you a general tip, but before I do that, I recommend the 3rd of the 3 series of the 50 Shades of Pathological Narcissism, because in that I spent 6 hours of presenting everything that I know and how to survive and keep safe. But the first thing I have to say about setting boundaries with narcissists, you first have to understand the very important rule. Or I'd like to upgrade it to a law, but I don't know how to do that. But is that the boundaries do not work on narcissists. And if you can accept that, then you have to understand how to apply a boundary to get the most protection. And that is even challenging. Therefore, in almost all of my work, I talk about the very best strategy is to avoid any interaction, fight, or argument. And if you can't avoid them, utilize my various techniques that include my observe, don't absorb technique. And that is hugely empowering and provides a large safety net that protects people from the harm from narcissists. How does someone cope when their entire family is narcissistic? Oh my gosh, that was the question you should, if you asked me 15 years ago, I would have said, I don't know, and then I would probably start crying. Get into therapy with someone who understands and maybe relates and definitely can have empathy with someone who has that same problem. And if that is the case, then you have to start planning, understanding, and learning all the strategies to keep yourself safe with the potential of losing all the relationships. That is why I created what I call my Surgeon General warning. And if you're from the States, you know that on a pack of cigarettes, there's a Surgeon General warning that says, if you smoke, you get emphysema. Well, I have a Surgeon General warning that says, if you continue to be with a codependent, you will lose the opportunity for loving yourself and experiencing joy and freedom. If you should break free, there is a likelihood that you will lose up to 85% of the people you love or the people that you thought loved you. And I say that because if you have a family filled with narcissists, and you want to protect yourself, there's a likelihood that these same individuals will not comply with anything that you request and need to pull you into constant conflict. And if you understand that, the only chance to survive and to flourish and to experience self-love is to remove yourself. And should you try to remove yourself and they follow you, and then you set hard, clear boundaries, there's a likelihood that their narcissistic injury will result in them breaking off the relationship. So that is why hiring a psychotherapist that understands my methods, reading my Human Magnet Syndrome book, or acquiring some of my full-length descriptive educational videos on my selfloverecovery.com website will help. Are siblings who make deals with the narcissist to get benefits, are they covert narcissists or just selfish? Well, Minnesota, that's my family. That's a tricky one because not everyone that is narcissistic has a personality disorder. Not everyone that is dishonest and manipulative and narcissistic rises to the diagnostic level of covert narcissism. But it is very, very common. And I believe in over 95% of the family, and I talk about this in my Human Magnet Syndrome book. If you come from a family that has a pathologically narcissistic parent and a codependent parent, then you were traumatized horribly in your childhood. And we call that attachment trauma. That attachment trauma impacts all of the children. Therefore, the children of this family are going to grow up either a self-love deficient person, a codependent, or someone with a personality disorder or a pathological narcissist. So if that is your family, the probability is high that if the siblings lied and manipulated and are not accountable and not, then they could very well be pathologically narcissistic. But there is an exception. And I know this from my own personal experience. Lying, and listen carefully, lying and deception are independent factors in narcissism or codependency. You can be a pathological liar and be a codependent or an SLD. And I know plenty of them. You can be, of course, a pathological liar and be a narcissist. You can be an SLD or codependent in this family and be impacted so badly or have this problem with SLDD or codependency that you don't want to seek help for. So you are connected to the narcissist of the family and are not powerful or healthy enough, strong enough to resist their influence. And so this codependent might also be involved in deception and lying. Okay. I don't know what a neurotypical is, so I can't answer that question, truth seeker. There's a lot of terms out there that are perpetuated on YouTube by people who are not psychotherapists. Some pretend to be, some are smart, some not so. But there's this plethora of terms that are out there. And as a licensed psychotherapist with 35 years of experience, I depend on the technical words developed by the mental health field. And those ones I understand. So, Tony Soprano, oh my gosh, Tony Soprano. Do covert narcissists mother abuse their little children in secret? Covert narcissists do everything in secret. It's only, but something that's important to know about covert narcissists, they are far less secretive about their malignant or harmful side behind the safe walls of their home, their family. So if your father or mother is a covert narcissist, you experience the worst side of that narcissism. There's no covert presentation with their family. So absolutely, it's possible. What is percentage? Oh, 30 is that. So guys, I'm going to go for like 5 more minutes, just FYI. And of course, I won't be able to get to all your questions. Joseph says, why do covert narcissists get so many enablers and flying monkeys? Okay. So if you think of a covert narcissist as having sociopathic traits, that means they are naturally adept and skilled at manipulating people in ways that they're not even aware of. And I know, and by the way, I won't mention the names, and don't even try to get me to mention the names, but I know several, maybe 3 or 4 very well-known, prominent YouTube content creators that are covert narcissists that, espouse, that ways to protect yourself from narcissists and say they're codependents themselves. But the point is, these individuals, because of their sociopathy, are quite adept at getting people to believe whatever they want them to believe in order to bring in people to support them. So if you think of an army general and you want to have, a military force that is strong and robust, you want to convince everyone that your position on any given war is just, fair and moral. And so then you get all these people excited to be on your team. Well, the covert narcissists and the malignant narcissists are quite able to build a fan base. And in the cases of families or relationships, a set of flying monkeys that do their dirty work. And these flying monkeys will never know that they've been manipulated. And a perfect example is the January 6th attempted takeover of our Capitol. Most of the people who were convicted and who admitted fault to it said they were taken up by the excitement of the moment and the charismatic people that were encouraging them to do things. And if you look at these charismatic people, whether it's the president down to any of his other lieutenants, they all knew what they were doing when they were like fomenting and creating the rage and anger to get people to do their dirty work. All right, I'm going to answer 2 more questions. By the way, I saw someone, Minnesota Jude, mentioned The Wizard of Oz. One of my favorite books on narcissism is called The Wizard of Oz and Other Narcissists by, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her name. I'm having a blank, but an absolutely brilliant author, and I highly recommend it. Okay, remember, Yeah, Andrea, I respect that we have a different of opinion, but let's not discuss it. I was just using my opinion, and I welcome you to disagree with it. Anthony, will covert narcissists eventually turn on each other? Narcissists do not do well together. So a covert narcissist who will very, very will strategically and purposely avoid being in a relationship with another narcissist. It's a human magnet syndrome. Two people that are alike push, there's not an attraction. It's the opposite that pulls them together like magnets. So covert narcissists don't exist really well unless they're on the same team. They represent the same goal. And so you think of Adolf Hitler in World War II, and same with Stalin and all these other figures, these either sociopathic or covert narcissist historical figures. They brought together a team of high generals, high-ranking, powerful civilians that together were able to facilitate the destruction of people, places, cities, cultures. And so with that as an example, you can see how covert narcissists were able to work together under what I would call the alpha narcissist. Okay, last question. Tony, I already answered that question about covert narcissists as I get older. By the way, before I answer Ellen, that's right. Thanks, Stephen. It's Eleanor Payson. She's the author of that book. Before I answer the last few questions, and I'll answer two more, it's important that you know that this is my job. And if you want to support me in my job, please consider purchasing my Human Magnet Syndrome book, or going to our website, selfloverecovery.com, and looking at the educational resources that are available in audio or video. We happen to have a sale that is 30%. When you go to the website, you should be able to see that. Two more questions. Kayla, my book is on sale at 50% off on Amazon. How is that possible? Really? Can you send me a link to that? Because, yeah, I mean, yeah, I didn't know Amazon did that, but if they're on sale for 50% on Amazon, go there and buy it for sure. Absolutely. Are you teaching your method to psychologists in any courses? Like Carla Cabelli, and I pronounce it, I apologize if I pronounce your name wrong. I started all of this as a professional trainer to other psychotherapists. So all of my work is specifically developed for an audience that is both a professional mental health practitioner and the general audience, such as most of you. And so, yes, I have provided hundreds. No, that's an exaggeration. I have provided maybe 150, 140 professional trainings to other psychotherapists. Last question. Demi Brew or Drew and Brew, I can't answer that question because you're asking something that could only be answered in a psychotherapy session. Okay, guys, one more question and we're going to wrap this one up and call it a day. Come on, guys. I know there is a question. Maybe there's one here. Paint scraper. You went, okay, we'll call this the last one. You went no contact, but recently let them back around to find things. And you found out they didn't change. Oh, wait, hold on. I went no contact, but recently let them back around only to find things haven't changed. I feel like teaching them a lesson by playing games, the kind that will confuse them, and it seems like a bad idea. Oh my gosh, bad idea. Retreat. Do not fight back. Do not try to punish. Do not try to retaliate. There are many people on YouTube that make a living off that advice. But George Bernard Shaw is saying, if you wrestle with pigs, you'll get dirty. And besides, the pig likes it. It is the basis for my advice that you don't want to fight with the person that is talented, understanding, and easily able to disable you in the fight. SLDs or codependents don't think like that. They don't fight that way. So you don't fight. You just walk away and find a way, a life, an environment where they don't exist. 2, a wolf, I always mess up saying a wolf doesn't change, no, a stripe. Tiger doesn't change his stripes. I suck at sayings. So if these are pathological narcissists that were very harmful to you, that you finally had to set boundaries and they disappeared, you letting them in either means they exploited some weakness or manipulated you, or you had a relapse in what you should understand, and maybe you haven't read my materials or seen my educational work, that you cannot ever expect that a pathological narcissist can change. And I actually did a video on this, and this is how I'm going to close. And this must have been 4 or 5 years, and it's about the scorpion and the frog. So the story goes, and of course I'm embellishing it to make it work for me. There was this frog and a scorpion who met on a riverbank. And of course, when the frog saw the scorpion, it wanted to run because scorpions kill frogs. But the scorpion says, Mr. Frog, please don't run. Please, I promise you, I won't sting you. I actually need your help, because without you helping me, I can't get across this river and see my family and enjoy my life. So I promise, if you let me ride on your back across the river, I will not sting you and kill you. And why would I? Because if I did, I'd be killing both of us. And because this frog was codependent and did not watch my videos, he said, sure. So while they're at the middle of this river, there was this big rock that kind of cleaved off the mountain and came crashing down. And it was this big boom. And that sound scared the scorpion, and reflexively, it stung the frog. And the frog, right before it was dying, said, Mr. Scorpion, why would you sting me? It's killing both me and you. And the scorpion's response was, I'm sorry, it's just in my nature. So the moral of that story is a narcissist cannot stop being a narcissist, even if they actually want to, because it's in their nature. And the problem is so deeply embedded that it is hidden from their awareness. The most common and the most prevalent symptom of all personality disorders, which of course include narcissistic personality disorder, is that the narcissist does not understand, recognize, or see that they have a serious problem. They just can't. It's something in their brain has been altered. They blame everyone else for it. And that's important for you to remember when dealing with narcissists, because if they pretend to know, if they pretend to have insight, if they make you promises, they're being that scorpion and they're going to sting you. In closing, thank you so much for your continued support. I am grateful for you guys, because without this community, without people wanting to overcome narcissistic abuse, without wanting to escape from severely harmful narcissism, such codependents, or people who I call self-love deficient, would never have an opportunity to find peace, happiness, and self-love. And so we're all in this together. And thank you for your support. You know what people, If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, make comments and all the stuff that really makes a video effective. And if you want more information about the details of my self-love recovery treatment program that permanently resolves codependency, or what I call self-love deficit disorder, and any of the other techniques and strategies I develop to help people survive and thrive, go to selfloverecovery.com and you'll find we're having a 30% summer sale. Or go to Amazon, where I'm told this is available at 50%. I'm still surprised, but if it is, go for it. Okay, guys, thank you. And I look forward to our very next discussion. Bye-bye.